Hello, everyone, and welcome to CCA Season 5 Week 2 matches. We have a Div 4 match right now between the University of North Carolina, Greensboro, Bonefish Bay, and the Rochester Institute of Technology, RIT Tiger Prawn. So...
Pretty interesting matchup. We're here to talk about a little bit about it. I believe looking at the prep sheet, Bonefish Bay is currently 0-1 this season. They lost their Week 1 matchup against, who did they play? Let me take a look at that. Against Cali. But RIT Tiger Prawn, they actually haven't played a single match yet. They had to reschedule their Week 1 matchup. So it's going to be interesting to see what they can do in what is effectively their debut match of the season.
Yeah, and I think for both teams, for Bonefish Bay, they're going to be looking to play very, very aggressively. I can see they gave a few keys to victory, and all of them have to do with keeping pressure on, maintaining aggression, and basically not letting the other team have a chance to breathe. Whereas for RIT Tiger Prawn, their main form of aggression is going to be through specials. So we'll see how that comes into play in this first game here on Clamblitz Inkblot Art Academy.
Yeah, I also wanted to note that another key to victory that RIT listed was unconventional weapon comps, so I'm really interested to see what they pull out here. Definitely some unconventional picks. The Splattershot Nova is pretty bold coming from RIT. That's not a weapon you see terribly often anymore.
Yeah, and I'd also like to call attention to the Paintbrush Nouveau. I figured out this weapons kit right now when it showed it was points and reversals, so let's see what they can do. We can see the Zap kind of trying to get an early cooler, gaining control of mid, and taking on this left stack. But it's going to get rushed down by 2. It's a 2v2 right now.
Both teams trying to grapple in neutral, trying to take control of those key locations. It seems like the members of RIT in blue are falling back, Bonefish Bay moving in, taking that key location on the right stack. They have a ball ready, specials online, looks like they're trying to set up for a push onto the opposing plat.
Yeah, and you can see Zuka came out, didn't really get anything, but this Inkjet is going to get one as the paintbrush does go down. But with the Inkjet, all of Bonefish Bay is going to be kind of forced back a bit. But they're just going to retake right back in the mid because Tiger Prawn did not really have much presence in the middle of the map right now. Very good pick from the Nova though. Although we see another situation where people end up going 2 down.
Yeah, both teams are trading picks left and right. It's down to the Zap to hold down the front line for Bonefish Bay. Forced to fall back. Definitely the right play there. You don't want to take a 1v3 like that. But with cooler online, missiles coming out from the paintbrush, RIT has a lot of potential to really set up for a big push here.
Yeah, and you can see the paintbrush going in, unable to score the power claim, which is a bit unfortunate, and they do end up going 2 down, so the push isn't going to be actually converting into points. But you can see they still have control mid, they still got jumps in. And they even managed to get a pick on the shot, so...
Yeah, and I'd like to note, actually, as unfortunate it is for the paintbrush to miss the ball there, in Clamblitz, it's really important to try to maximize the point gain in each of your pushes, because if you're just scoring that one power clam in, sure, you're getting a free 20 points, but you're also giving the opposing team a free pity to retaliate with. So, even though they missed that ball in on the basket. Oh, a beautiful double with that splat bomb. This is Bonefish Bay's a big chance from the push in with specials, although they don't have a lot of clams to play with.
Yeah, as you were saying, this is when kind of them not scoring actually kind of helps them a bit, because now they don't even have the pity. Now they have to spend so much more time getting clams, and at this point, Tiger Prawn's already back. They already have control of their plat again. So...
Popping missiles to force Bonefish out, probably the right play to make. Bonefish is going to fall back, try to maintain control of those key locations, the 2 stacks on left and right. Let's see how they do. Finds 1, that's a good start for them.
Yeah, definitely very good, and we can see the Inkjet come out, but everyone's kind of pivoted over to this left side, so it might not be able to get the picks that Tiger Prawn is looking for. We can see Buya come out. Is it going to be getting off? It is able to get off, and with the Nova down, this is going to be a perfect opportunity for them to score.
But that huge reef slide from the Tetris finds 2 and quickly picks out a 3rd. Bonefish has no choice but to fall back here. Although it looks like they're trying to keep up pressure with the Zuka over on their ramp. It's definitely been quite a firefight for Bonefish to try to get up onto this plat and get any amount of momentum here.
Yeah, this match has been very much of just a battle of attrition with just people controlling mid and not really being able to see much more. But I do want to call attention to that reef slider because that was a crazy play. You have to get 3. And even right now, the Tetris again is able to stop that push from the guy with the power clam. And they're going to allow Tiger Prawn to retake mid again.
These Tetris are credit where it's due, RIT in general has honestly been doing a great job playing defense here. Bonefish has had multiple chances to try to push up onto the plat with a power claim, with specials online, and each time RIT's done a great job repelling their pushes, keeping them forced back in mid. And now finally it seems like they have a chance to go on the offensive, try to take some space here. The Paintbrush is trying to secure control over the left stack, although Bonefish doing a great job keeping them off, using the Slosher's arcing hitbox to their advantage.
Yeah, I was going to say the Nova going down there as well is really unfortunate because they don't have an inkjet now, but the Paintbrush did a very good job staying alive and it's able to pop missile. And the Nova's actually really close to an inkjet. If the Nova gets an inkjet and is able to get a few picks, this could be good. But the Paintbrush ends up going down, which is going to give Bonefish Bay still more time to just hold on to their plat and start retaking the mid.
The amount of clams on both sides is honestly pretty even right now. Typically, teams want to try to control the economy in these sorts of games, but right now things are dangerously even going into the last 30 seconds of the game. One ball here is enough to win the game, basically, so it's definitely going to be close.
Yeah, and I mean, in this situation, the Nova needs to keep its inkjet right here. If the Nova dies, and as I'm saying this, the machine is just able to rush in through the left side. And that is going to be a huge score with 13 seconds left in the game.
Yeah, they're gonna get that ball in. You know, there's 5 seconds left. On paper, it seems like the game's over for RIT. Like, they really need to make something happen. But they have 2 balls online. Bonefish going 2 down in the last 10 seconds. Coming in for Reef Slider. Missiles online as well. RIT is really rallying, trying to get a push going here. They get the ball in. They need 1 clam to take the lead here. Last one is stuck in inkjet. It's going to be really close. They get it. Unbelievable.
What a good double from the inkjet right at the end. Being able to secure those 2 picks, allowing the last team out of Tiger Pawn to just run in and square that clam. That was a very, very good counter push right at the end of the game. And yeah, RIT Tiger Pawn is going to take the first game.
Yeah, great stuff from RIT. If you're Bonefish Bay, that loss definitely stings a little bit. Losing in overtime is never what anyone's looking for. However, I think it's really important for them to try to not take that loss too harshly. You know, it's really common for teams, you know, after taking 1 loss, you know, the morale starts to go down, comms start to get a bit more infrequent. And like when that happens, it's like the set's already over. If you're not communicating, you know, you're not playing the set at your full potential, it's like, oh man, like we can't do anything. So for Bonefish, I think it's really important that they don't take that overtime loss too harshly. They just keep their heads up and they go into game 2 as if the score was still 0-0 right now.
Yeah, I agree. Like in these best of 7 sets, making sure to sort of shake off your losses, especially early on, is very, very important because otherwise it can just keep snowballing and then you just keep losing. So we'll see if they're going to be able to adapt anything going into Zones Umami for our next round.
Yeah, Batson, I'm going to be honest. I genuinely despise this map mode. It's definitely not a preferable one for me. So God knows if I was left to talk about it, it would just devolve into an angry rant. So how about you tell me what you think of this map mode?
Okay, I think it's really funny that you despise this map mode because I love this map. This is one of my team's best maps, actually.
Well, see, you to me. Oh, continue.
No, you're good. But yeah, I think this map is very much, if you can get control of their plat, it is very, very difficult to push back into their plat. So it is very lockout heavy, especially for a zones map. So
especially like that's really worth noting, or like that's really saying something, given that Splatoon 3 maps have a bit of a reputation for being incredibly lockout heavy, and Umami is perhaps the most lockout heavy of any map mode, or any map in this game, because there's effectively only 2 ways out of spawn, and one of them I affectionately call the death pit, because if you go into it, you die. So there's really only one way out of spawn. So long as teams, you know, they take zone, they move up to that aggressive forward position, if they just control that main choke point that connects spawn to mid, there's not a lot for the defending team to do. So this is where coordinating specials and moving as a team to get out of disadvantage is going to be really, really important.
Yeah, definitely. And specifically for like these teams, I'd say that with how much the start of the first match ended up being very much of a stalemate, it'll be interesting to see how that sort of dynamic changes when you have a map that's much more favored for lockouts in Umami zones.
Especially in a mode that plays a lot faster, you know. Clams, it's probably, I'd say, the slowest moving mode of any game, or any mode, right? Sometimes you see those 8-minute long matches where neither team scores the entire time, but in zones, like, things move at a breakneck pace. Like one push going from 100 to 0, that can be done in only like a minute and a half, right? So it's definitely going to be interesting to see how both these teams open.
Oh, really, really interesting comps. We see the Vanilla Splattershot Pro, a weapon that I have not seen in a long time, but it's, you know, it's a mid line. It has Crab Tank. It can provide a lot of good crossfire utility, and the Crab is obviously going to be very good on this map, where it can just sit in top mid.
Of course. RIT immediately going one down. The Paintbrush got caught out there. Bonefish is trying to move with that pressure. The Zap goes down, unfortunately. Back to be numbers even. And it seems like RIT actually got a reversal. Now Bonefish is 2 down, forced to fall back. RIT is going to get early control of the zone, and they're going to try to move up with that.
Yeah, and we can see the RIT is stacking 3 people on this right side, and one of them is going to be able to go down. So this is, and 2 actually go down. So this is giving Bonefish Bay a huge chance to sort of get their Carbon in position and start getting control of zone.
That was a really good rally with the strikes there. Carbon working with them, finds another pick. Good call out there. Like the Carbon Roller fell back to try to pincer that guy. Wasn't necessary, but I could see the intent there. Like they were definitely falling back specifically because someone called out. There was a flank back there. And it seems like both teams are really locked in mid here. Like in zones, ideally, once you take control of zone, the next step is to move up to a more forward holding position. But like both teams are stuck in like a hard firefight in mid for like this entire game, it seems like.
Yeah. And we can see the dualies and the pro. Somehow, the dualies do end up getting taken out for that, which is not how I expected that interaction to go at all. But that's very good for Bonefish Bay, as the dualies had a Crab Tank, and the Crab Tank is one of the best ways to retake if you can get that crab up on the snipe. So it has charged it again, though.
2 down for Bonefish. This is going to be a chance for RT to come in, especially if a Crab Tank online as well. They really need to find out this. They need to find this Carbon, get eyes on him, and take him out immediately. Seems like they've spotted him up on snipe. Knowing that he's that far back, this gives RIT a big chance to really push in and take some space. But it looks like they're opting to play things a bit more defensively, staying in mid, trying to just hold this top mid position for as long as they can. Let's see how it plays out.
Yeah, and we can see them getting a double on Bonefish Bay. Then being good, but like their CDS keeps getting forced back, which is kind of just. I mean, they are stalling. They haven't fully lost control yet. Very, very good play from the Carbon, going back and taking out the dualies and the Paintbrush, and that's gonna get Bonefish Bay back in the game, kind of, but not actually, because everyone got wiped. I don't even know how everyone got wiped.
Yeah, the pro, they're trying to stay alive in Crab. There's not much they could do to take a 3v1. They take 1 down with them, but unfortunately, it looks like it's not going to be enough to stop RIT's advancement. They've taken the lead. Let's see how far they could keep this push going. Bonefish doing a good job to neutralize the zone pretty quickly. Looks like they might flip it here. They do. So RIT's going to have a pretty significant penalty to work through. They only have a 7-point lead. Bonefish is already close to getting through their penalty. If you're Bonefish, losing lead there, it's not the end of the world. Like, this is definitely a game that you can come back from pretty quickly.
Yeah, definitely. But as we can say, this Carbon almost getting the last one, almost getting a full wipe, that would have almost been horrible for the Tiger Prawns, but this Neo Splash is able to hold on with their life and actually able to pop strikes. So
I would like to know, when the Carbon went down there, they were coolered as well. So their death, you know, it's unfortunate. Ideally, you want to get that pick or a trade. But, you know, being cooler, that death doesn't really matter too much. And it's here, I'm just now noticing that only RIT actually has a cooler weapon in their comp. Bonefish is going coolerless, which these days in the meta is pretty unorthodox. A lot of teams try to run at least 1 cooler weapon, but it seems like Bonefish, oh, what am I saying? I'm looking at RIT, my fault. RIT is opting to play without coolers. That's definitely going to be an adjustment for them. Bonefish getting wiped. This is going to be Tiger Prawns a big chance for them to take up and take a lot of space here. They need it. They have a pretty significant penalty to work through and a lot of points to get before they could take lead back. And with only a minute left on the clock, they really need to make something happen here.
Yeah, and I mean, especially because they're going to have to push into a Trumps and a Strikes. The Crab comes out. We'll see if Strikes get popped on the Crab or if it's just going to stay there. But actually, 2 end up going down from Bonefish. I don't know how they did. I think the dualies or someone got into position to be able to get a double, but that's going to be very difficult for Bonefish Bay to come back from, even with the Zuko.
RIT going 2 down. This is a big chance of Bonefish to get in. They got to move now. They only have 2 points left to work with. It looks like they're going to flip it. They do. Great play to stop the push right there. If RIT just had another second, they probably take lead there. Still 20 seconds left on the clock. Anything can happen. You know, RIT, they're going to have a big penalty to work through in order to take back lead. But it's definitely doable.
Yeah, but I mean, you can see RIT going 2 down is going to be very punishing, especially as you said there, none of those deaths are going to be cooler. Every death matters so much more in this situation. The Carbon getting yet another pick, and that's just going to be the game. And Bonefish Bay is going to come back. They are going to take that game.
Yeah, it seems like they didn't. That loss didn't get to them. They came back in game 2, played really well, kept a level head, and seems like we have an actual set here going 1-1. I look forward to the rest of the games. Like, anything can happen from here.
Yeah, that was very close at the end of that game with RIT getting all the way down to 29. They only needed 2 more points, but they just were not able to get it. That Zuka getting 1. I think someone else on Bonefish ended up picking up a second kill as well. Was enough to just force RIT back.
Really good stuff from Bonefish to realize, like their penalty's done. It's coming down to the wire. Like, we gotta move now or never, if you'll pardon the expression. So good stuff on them. They really got in there, played really aggressively, stopped the clock just in the nick of time, and managed to take the game. So kudos to Bonefish. Like, we have an actual set to watch now. Moving into game 3, we got Tower Control Mako, as opposed to the last map mode, which is like a bottom 5 one in my opinion. This is like a top 5 map mode to me. I don't know, Batson, how do you feel about this one?
Well, to give you a sense on how I feel, I think I should tell you what weapons I play first. I play Range Blaster and V Blaster. So you can probably guess how I feel about TC Mako. I
mean, you and I both, man. Like, Rapid Deco, it's one of my favorite guns, and this is like the blaster map. So many corners and ledges to peek over.
Yeah, so unfortunately, we likely will not be seeing any blasters in this map, but who knows? This is, if you're going to ever use the blaster, this is the map to use it on.
I mean, I don't know. Again, like, was it RIT who said? Yeah, RIT did mention unconventional weapon comps in their keys to victory. So, like, for all we know, they could be pulling out, like, not Kenzo Luna Blaster. That doesn't exist anymore. They could pull out Luna Blaster Neo or Clash Blaster Neo, some, like, off-meta blaster, which I think would be really fun to see on Mako TC.
I would love to see that. And they did go a fairly different comp in between the 2 games, so we'll see what they have cooking up for TC Mako here.
Yeah, something I think we'd like to mention earlier, actually, is that RIT has a fairly large roster of 6 players. We haven't been paying too much attention to the subs, but that does mean, you know, with a whole 6 players on your roster, there's going to be a lot of different weapons in the team's collective weapon pool. So, like, you know, seeing drastic changes in comps from one game to the next, that's pretty standard for these large rosters, and it makes them a lot of fun to watch, you know? Like, they could pull out anything, and, like, you won't be able to predict it.
Yeah, and I mean, like, as someone who plays a lot of underutilized weapons myself, I do like seeing the sort of more interesting comps. Like, they're trying out Coolerless, they're going for a lot of Paintbrush. We've seen both paintbrushes. First the Nouveau paintbrush, and then the original paintbrush. So we'll see.
It's always great to see these underutilized weapons get a chance in the spotlight, and that's really like the beauty of, like, you know, having multiple different divisions of different skill levels. In these lower divs, teams feel less pressured to conform to the meta, I find. The metaphor I always use is like the lower divs, you know, like divs 6, 5, 4. It's like the Wild West down there. You don't know what you're gonna see or like what kind of teams you're gonna find down there. So it makes like games like these, matches like this, really exciting to watch, because, you know, any number of weird weapons could come out.
So I'm still waiting for the day where someone uses Vimy. I'm sorry, I would not be able to give unbiased commentary if there's a Vimy on the screen.
I mean, if we're talking about personal biases, I would love to see a Vanilla 96 come out.
Oh, I love 96 too. Oh my god.
I believe in Season 3 of CCA, V96 was one of only, like, 3 weapons to not get played a single time, which definitely broke my heart, the resident 96 fan. But anyways, we're stalling. We're moving into Game 3. RIT does have to pull out a blaster, the S-Blast 91? Oh, I forget, the purple one, whichever number it is.
Yeah, I believe it's the 91. And we can see they're returning with the A-Nova, and actually the V-Jet, the one with InkFact. So they're probably going to be looking to use that to get some checkpoints and to give some protection on the tower.
Bonefish also pulling out an E-Leader for the first time in this set. You know, E-Leader and Tower Control, it's like peanut butter and jelly, so not too surprising, but definitely interesting to see them pull it out. Finds a beautiful shot on the brush there. Although Vacuum is on tower, we're going to have to see what Bonefish can do to play around that.
They're going to send their T-Tech back, and the T-Tech is just going to get 3 kills. That was a very good play. And they even get some more. It's just a blaster.
Exposed there as well. That's a delayed wipe.
They have full control of this area. They just have to worry about people coming from a flat.
Yeah.
And with the cooler out as well.
Yeah, this is going to be big for Bonefish. They're past first checkpoint already, moving towards the second, which is, in my opinion, the most difficult checkpoint to take on this map. The tower is vulnerable from just about every direction, so it's definitely be interesting to see what they do to go around it. The Anarchy Nova pops a defensive inkjet there, probably the right thing to do, considering that all their teammates went down at the same time. Bonefish is running away with this push. They're already... Oh, I say that as they go 3 down. Let's see. It seems like the Tri-Nouveau is falling back. Definitely the right thing to do. Good stop by RIT. Like, that was definitely a really tough push to stop, and it seems like they successfully pulled it off.
Yeah, and all 3 of those people just died immediately. That was really funny. And you can see this Nova kind of working around the right side, probably looking to charge that inkjet. They actually have 2 specials up. They have Zipcaster as well as Vac. But the Vac goes down. What a shot from the E-Leader. And the Octopus trades out with the dualies. This is
that's really unfortunate for RIT. All 4 of their members had specials online. They had the makings of a phenomenal push there, but 2 of them went down at basically the same time, so now they're forced to go back into neutral, play things a bit more slowly, waiting for another potential for a push. Another one just went down, and it looks like Bonefish taking the opportunity, really moving up and taking a lot of space.
Yeah, I mean, this try has been doing a lot in this game so far. I mean, it is try and Mako. It's going to do a lot, but just being able to have that close range offensive power. But as I say this, the brush getting to the Zipcaster and then someone else going down as well, this is giving RIT a lot of space to control.
I like the one, I believe that was, yeah, it's the Nova over there on the stack. That's a great position to take. Even though the tower is on the other side of the map, locking down the stack and making sure no one can approach it from that angle is really huge. Although, unfortunately, RIT is going to get wiped. Really solid defense from Bonefish. That's going to give him a lot of space to move up and get another push going. Yeah,
and especially, like, they have a try and they also have a dualies. These are 2 weapons that are very scary when you have a lot of paint control. So we'll see what happens. Oh, but the Vijay is able to get 2. And now it's just the N Theories on tower. It's still opting
to
run
the 1v1 situation. Nova's doing their best effort to try to stop the tower. Although if Jump's coming in, it's going to be really difficult for this one Nova, you know, a gun that kills in a whole 5 bullets to stop them. Bonefish takes second checkpoint. They're past the hardest part of the map. From here, it's just a matter of getting one more good push going and getting into the home stretch of the map.
But speaking of one good push going, RIT Tiger Prawn has already taken out the leader, and they have complete control over mid and their flat. So, and with the Brio coming out, they also have Zipcaster and Vac at the ready.
Right, a lot of specials online.
Taking out the leader again.
Yeah, this is going to be difficult for Bonefish. The defensive key, the defensive core of their team has been taken out, losing another one as well. Seems like RIT's trying to take this first checkpoint. They had to hop off tower for a little bit. Beautiful shot by the blaster. That was do or die. Popping Booyah for the continuation. Last one's diving tower. If they get that Tri-Slosh out of the picture, this could be big. Seems like no one wants to dive him. Although the brush is in a fantastic forward position. They don't know he's there. Oh, takes out one. The brush keeps this up. They can have the makings of a phenomenal push. Zipcaster out. Let's see what they do with it.
Yeah, unfortunately, the rest of RIT does end up going down, and it's just going to leave the brush and Zipcaster with the try. It's going to be able to take out the try, and it's going to be able to take out the dualies as well. Absolutely, really, really important play from that brush. But unfortunately, the tower is going to reset to mid. But RIT hasn't lost control.
Yeah, no, they're keeping the tower in a forward position. They are going to go 2 down, make that 3 down. It's left to the Nova. They might pop defensive jet here. They might not have a choice. It's going to be difficult for RIT. They have 15 seconds left on the clock, and they're going up against a 10-tech splatter shot, GG strikes, you know, in which it seems like the 10-tech's just about to get. They have him online. RIT's going to need a miracle to win this game, especially if the tower being deep into their own territory.
Yeah, at this point, yeah.
Also, the T-Tech's the only one.
Oh my goodness! And if they can just tower, the strikes actually didn't end up causing the GG, as RIT Tiger Prawn still has a bunch of support. They have 2 specials at the ready as well, and Bonefish Bay is nowhere close to having any of theirs.
Oh, this is gonna be... Bonefish is nervous right now. I say as the Tri-Slosh, I think it was, dives on the tower, RIT must have missed them. They weren't expecting an aggressive play like that. They sneak on the tower, and just like that, Bonefish runs away with the game, going 2-1 in the series so far.
Yeah, I mean those aggressive plays, like right as the tower is in overtime, they can be really risky because if you die, then you just snowball the game even further. But if it works, then you end up winning the game, and that is what happened.
The GG strikes not causing the GG and then getting what is effectively like a delayed wipe there. Like, nerves were I reckon nerves were pretty high on the side of Bonefish Bay there. Like, they were nervous. The Tri-Slosher dived in for the hero play and it worked out for them. So kudos to them. They managed to, you know, save that game. But I mean, I reckon if RIT just had a bit more time and they caught that Tri-Slosher a bit earlier, they maybe could have turned that game around because they had the makings of a really good push. All 4 members alive, most of them with specials online. The brush was already up on their plat in Zipcaster, causing havoc for Bonefish. Like, it's interesting to think if like there was maybe just an extra second or two in that game, the result might have been completely different.
Yeah, I definitely agree. That was a spooky ending. As soon as the T-Tech didn't end up finishing the game with those strikes, and I was like, oh, the game's not over yet.
You know, in the set I casted last week, I mentioned that in some extremely like rare instances, you know, teams can manage to hold a tower somehow throughout GG strikes, and honestly, that was a really good example because the T-Tech popped strikes, probably assuming, oh yeah, like I have strikes, like that's the end of the game, right? But what they didn't realize that the instant they popped strikes, all 3 of their teammates all went down at the same time, leaving them alone to dive tower while the strikes were going off. And that's just not ideal when you have to dive tower alone against a team full of angry opponents, right? So
yeah, running running directly into a brush typically does not end well.
But hey, they managed to clean up without strikes, so good job, Bonefish.
Yeah.
Anyways,
very good.
Yeah, game 4, Humpback Rainmaker. How do you feel about this one, Batson?
Humpback Rainmaker? So, back in Splatoon 2, it was this map, and it was Black Belly Rainmaker that were the reason why I picked up CJ.
Ah, nice.
But that doesn't exist, so I don't know how I feel about this map. It's probably alright.
Like, I think Humpback Rainmaker's a pretty good map mode. It's definitely not, like, top 10 in my opinion, but it's just a good, solid map mode. Most teams I find tend to favor the when you're trying to take first check. Most teams tend to favor the right route as opposed to the left one. That elbow location off to the far right is a much better holding position. I find it's a lot tougher for the team on defense to get in there and force the attackers out. But on the contrary, for attackers, going right, you know, you take first checkpoint, but then immediately after first check, there is one of the most brutal choke points in the entire game where you have to cram your entire team through a very narrow passage. Where, like, you know, any team just spamming bombs there or popping any specials in that choke point, you know, the Rainmaker can't do anything to get through there. So it's definitely a pretty interesting one. I'm going to be interested to see which paths teams opt to take. You know, we might even see a cheeky flank from, like, a brush or another flanking weapon by going to the left path while the rest of the team goes right. I've been saying it a lot, but it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, this map, more than any other map in the game, I think, if you have a lead that is not a KO, your lead is not safe. Especially after the checks have been gone, so.
Right. I mean, Rainmaker really is the mode where anything can happen, I find. Like, it is by far and away the fastest moving of all of the modes. You get a wipe at a bad time, and, you know, the other team's lead could go from 60 points to 1 point.
We have an insane comp coming out from RIT Tiger Prawn. They are opting to go for a cooler this time, though.
I mean, they weren't kidding when they said unorthodox weapon picks. I mean, like, the Dreadringer, you know, that's already pretty rare to see outside of zones, but the Dynamo, definitely interesting. Although, I must say, my opinion on Dynamo on this particular map mode in the last day has changed significantly, because I've seen some pretty monstrous players do some crazy things with Dynamo on Humpback.
Yeah, Dynamo's pretty good here. I do also appreciate the double reef slider for the super Rainmaker popping capabilities.
Oh, yeah.
And it's clearly paying off as immediately they're able to go 3 down.
Cooler online as well. Rainmaker pop. This is going to be big for RIT. They're really rallying forward. This Dynamo being crazy aggressive. They have Rain to push through that brutal choke point I was talking about. Although it looks like they're opting to play things a bit more slowly. Wait out that Booyah Bomb. Probably the right thing to do. Let's see what they do here.
Yeah, waiting at the crab as well. Bonefish Bay doesn't really have that many resources. They threw the Booyah and threw the crab. They are going to have cooler now, though, which is going to be helpful in defense, but...
Zuka out as well, trying to get a snipe on the Rainmaker. RIT goes 2 down here. This is Bonefish's chance to really rush in there and take out the Rainmaker, but they go 2 down as well. They're playing this so patiently, already running through half of the Rainmaker's time. Like, it's working out for them so far, although finally the Carbon comes from the side, finally takes out the Rainmaker. This is going to give Bonefish, you know, the space they need to come back in there, retake mid, and, like, really take control back of the game.
Yeah, and but even then, they haven't even been able to fully retake mid yet. They didn't really want to push into that Tetris there, and a lot of their team got wiped as well. So, oh, what a pick on the Tetris with the Fizzy. That pick right there might allow them to retake mid now.
Although the Carbon goes down. The Carbon, it seems like they tried to rush in alone, not realizing their team wasn't pushing up with them. It's not what you want to see. Carbon being a weapon that desperately needs paint in order to do anything. Running in alone like that is not ideal. Almost dying to an Autobomb as well. RIT is really throwing everything they have onto Bonefish's Bay, trying to get any kind of momentum. Bonefish going 2 down as well. This is RIT's chance to really get in there and get another push going. I say as the Rainmaker resets, which is definitely going to slow them down a bunch.
Yeah, but I mean, even if they're not pushing, like, neither is Bonefish Bay. RIT is just holding on to mid this whole time, and we can see the Reef Slider gonna come out there and ensure that they get popped. And the Dynamo's gonna get 2, and it's just the machine left who's stuck in Booyah.
Cooler out as well. RIT needs to go. Like, they're really rallying. Specials online, coming in for Reef Slider. Trapping one in the corner there. The Rainmaker's running it for points. Bonefish going 2 down as well. They really need to regroup and try to get back into the Rainmaker as a team. Rainmaker alone! He gets it. Wow. Unbelievable.
Wow. That was the one Reef Slider to get the pop, and the other Reef Slider to secure the kill in that choke that's really difficult to push back. That was...
And they say Reef Slider's a bottom 3 special. Come on.
Yeah, it's because they weren't using 2. They didn't think about that.
Oh, yeah, true. I mean, 1 Reef Slider, not good enough. 2 Reef Sliders, now we're cooking. So, like, I gotta say, like, this set, crazy back and forth. Like, you know, we went from the score being a 1-1, you know, now it's an effective best of 3. Now we're up 2-2. It's an effective best of... Wait a minute, I'm getting my numbers mixed up. You get what I'm saying there, right? Like, there's so much back and forth. The score's been even this entire time. It's like we got 2 evenly matched teams, it seems like.
Yeah, and I do think that the Dynamo especially was a really good pick that match. Not only just is Dynamo very good on Humpback in general, but giving your team cooler, I think helped sort of speed RIT up in a way that they were kind of lacking for the past 2 games. So I think that was a very good decision.
I mean, I find the best way to fight against hyper-aggressive teams, they're trying to use cooler to move in more quickly and take more risks. Like, the best way to match hyper-aggression is to fight fire with fire and be hyper-aggressive yourselves, right? If the other team is relying on cooler to be able to move quickly, pull out of a cooler of your own to match their speed. Like, more often than not, that's what works, you know? It's common sense to be like, oh man, they're being super aggressive. Maybe we should try to, like, hunker down and be, like, more passive, let them run into us. But, like, that can work. But in my experience, fighting fire with fire, matching their aggression with aggression of your own is the best way to play against teams that really like to hold forward and just dive into you over and over again.
Yeah, definitely. Trying to sort of hunker down and play more defensive, like, doesn't really work with cooler when even if you get a pick, they're gonna be coming back with like their full special in 1 second.
Right.
So definitely some good adaptation.
Moving into game 5, what is this again? Clan Blitz Museum, I believe?
Yeah. This is a classic mode.
Oh, this is one of... I can't even find the right words to describe it because it's just such a solid map mode, you know? Rotating back to Clan Blitz, what kind of weapons do you think we're going to see, knowing that from the Inkblot game, we kind of have an idea of what these teams like to play for Clan Blitz?
I have zero idea what weapons these guys are going to use. They have used such wildly different stuff in every game. Or at least RIT Tiger Pawn has. But
yeah. I mean, I would be interested to see if we see any Kraken weapons come out, because, you know, Clamblitz, Kraken, it's a natural pairing, you know? We didn't see any in Inkblot clams, so maybe not, but I mean, like, in my opinion, Museum is a much better map for Kraken than Inkblot is, so it's definitely possible, especially with the pedigree of RIT so far. Like, every match, they seem like every time we think we see the extent of their weird, unorthodox picks, they pull out something that's even more weird and unorthodox, right? So, frankly, anything could happen. They could pull out anything, and we'd still be surprised by it.
Yeah, so speaking of some unorthodox, I have some pretty interesting statistics for y'all. The RIT Tiger Prawn has a 40% win rate. RIT Tiger Prawn has a 40% KO rate. And RIT Tiger Prawn plays Bloblobber in 40% of games. And you know what special Bloblobber Deco has. So maybe we'll see that come out here.
What an insane statistic to track, by the way.
I don't think they're all
we
the
got,
same games.
We got win rate, we got KO rate, and we got Bloblobber rate. The 3 core statistics that any team needs. Anyways, game 5. Seems like both teams are falling back on some more conventional picks. No Kraken from either side. Can't say I'm too surprised, given that we didn't see any Kraken on Inkblot. But, you know, I was hoping. I like Kraken as a special, even if I don't like it terribly much in Clamblitz. But that's besides the point.
Yeah, something that we can see interesting coming out is C-Jet. And I really like C-Jet on this map. I think that Jet Squelcher's mobility allows it to be like fast and moving for the objective, as well as giving your team a nice backline to get jumps and gets a lot of storms.
Yeah, I find that like Jet Squelcher, like C-Jet or V-Jet, whichever one you want to talk about, I find it's the most flexible backline, you know? Unlike something like a Hydra or an E-Leader that's considered to be more immobile, you know, Jet Squelcher, being a shooter, definitely has the mobility and needs to play more forward if necessary, but it can definitely fall back and be a very cookie-cutter backline if that's what you want out of it. So, pretty cool weapon, I'd say. Seems like both teams have been stuck in hard to neutral for the first minute of this game. Although RIT going 2 down, make that a 3rd one. This is going to be Bonefish's bait. That's a delayed wipe, actually. Bonefish taking advantage of it, moving right up onto their plat. They have a few clams to work with. Let's see if they try to make a ball here. Seems like that's what they're trying to do. Let's see what RIT does to try to get them out of here.
Yeah, the Carbon was able to get into position very fast, just force everyone to back up into mid. And I think was that the Zap or the Carbon? The Carbon was able to push up and get a kill on the other Carbon. It does end up going down, but that just gave RIT Tiger Prawn a lot more space to play with there.
You know, I hadn't even noticed that there was a Carbon on either side of this game. I'm no roller player, but I do know that rollers, especially the more short-range ones, are like the kings of trading with each other. So I wonder how many times we're going to see those 2 Carbons come up on each other and simultaneously splat each other.
We'll see. We might need to keep track of that. As we can see, the ends of this going down. Both teams are kind of just holding in. The C-Jet is able to get on the top mid, but gets Zuka'd immediately. That's going to sort of reset all the momentum in Bonefish's favor.
That's really unfortunate. That mid spinner, it's such an important key location, especially if like a backline or in this case a crab tank gets up there. That's really big for the attacking team. You know, the team that has control of mid spinner. So that was a vital pick with the Zuka to get the C-Jet off of that mid spinner, because when they're up there, they have full sights over basically the entire map, meaning Bonefish wouldn't have a lot of options to get back in. So getting that C-Jet out of the picture early, like, definitely the right thing to do. Yeah,
I think the Carbon having Zuka right now is very, very important. As we can see, the crab is being popped from the other side. We'll see if there comes a Zuka to try to counter, but it looks like they opt to back up because someone's actually, the Carbon is going through the block. Yeah, able to get a quick score in.
Good flank by the Carbon there. Unfortunate that the Pro wasn't able to jump in time. That could have been a really easy way to get another 20 points in. Again, like, Bonefish, they're gonna get that 1 ball in. It's 20 points, but, you know, RIT already has pretty ample control of mid. They already have 1 ball online. Now they have another pity because Bonefish just scored. Like, RIT's gonna have a lot of fuel to work with, a lot of clams to work with in order to get a really big push going here.
Yeah, especially with him just going 3 down. And they also have 3 specials up. You can see the Cooler is going to get popped. They have a Zuka and a Crab. Crab is coming in at top mid. The most threatening Crab spot on this map. It is going to get striked immediately, and it actually gets taken out. Carbon is in position there.
Good special usage from Bonefish, knowing that, you know, using our strikes to, like, clear out a Crab. maybe you'd want to opt to try to like keep those strikes in order to like get a better push going up onto the opposing plat. But in that situation, when there's a crab on mid spinner, that's definitely like top priority. Let's pop strikes, get them out of the picture, so we don't have to deal with it, and then try to retake some space.
Yeah, for sure. And we can see that Bonefish Bay did end up getting forced out. So
seems like both teams are relatively even right now. I say as Bonefish goes 2 down. RIT still has a lot of clams online. We're approaching the end of this game, less than a minute left. RIT really needs to make something happen here. Bonefish is scrambling to try to keep him at bay for the last minute. Finding 2, they're doing a good job so far.
Yeah, and the Carbon being able to live from that after getting that pick with Azuka was really, really good. The CJ was not able to find that pick. But right now, RIT
online
they
from RIT. Yeah.
They have all specials to the side cooler, and they're able to get another pick without even using any of them. And
that's
one person
2 down. Oh,
last P-Tech.
RIT's gonna have a lot of momentum here. They're really pushing in hard with Cooler and Zuka online. Finding 2. Oh, this is gonna be huge for them.
They get another one.
They gotta get 1 clam in. They get the lead. We might get overtime here. I must admit, I'm not super well versed with the overtime rules in Clam Blitz.
If they can score right now, then there's not going to be overtime. These clams are there, and they're able to keep the score. So
seems like second verse, same as the first. Bonefish gets the first push, but they only score in that 1 ball. And that 1 ball they score, you know, gives RIT a free pity to work with. And then using that pity, in addition to all of the other claims they already have, they're able to come in with specials and get a huge push at the last minute to steal the game.
Yeah, definitely. I think RIT managing to get that wipe without even having to use a single one of their specials ended up just being such a shift in momentum to the point where Bonefish had to push in to RIT using all of their specials on their plat. And at that point, it was over.
Right. Yeah, what Bonefish really needed there was to try to, like, you know... What they really needed there was a special, but honestly, thinking about it, I don't even know if they would have had time to try to build up a special, you know? Like, they really had to scramble to try to stop their push by any means possible. But when it's a 4v2, and the 4 have multiple specials online, that's really difficult for the 2 to handle on their own.
Yeah, especially when the specials that you have are Crab and Zuka.
Right. And when the Zuka's coming from a Carbon, which struggles to build Zuka quickly, it's like, oh, that was just a terrible situation for Bonefish. But conversely, fantastic push by RIT. They played that exceptionally well.
Yeah, definitely. Very good knowledge of, like, knowing what resources you had to spend to win the fights, and then just being able to hit your game-winning push from there.
Yeah. Moving into Game 6, match point for RIT. Nerves are probably pretty high from everyone involved here. Ship-shaped splat zones. How do you feel about this one, Batson?
I have seen this map maybe a total of 10 times. I feel like it's not that bad. I just never see it.
Yeah, so in my opinion, I love this map mode. The analogy I always make, it's pretty similar to Mako zones, I find, where those 2 key locations, like the 2 arches that kind of crest over the zone, top left, top right, whatever you want to call them, they're very analogous to the stacks on Mako, I find, where if you control both of the stacks, you have control of the game. And in Ship Shape, it's the same concept. If you control those 2 elevated positions above stack, you have total control over the zone, and it's really difficult for teams to get back in. Personally, I think Ship Shape Zones is a really good map mode, and it gets a lot of hate these days, especially from people in CCA, because the staff had the wonderful idea to put it in every single map list last season. So I feel like a lot of people in CCA are pretty sick of seeing it by now. And so, like, people have gotten increasingly critical towards it. However, I find if you ignore your biases and you ignore the fact that a lot of us in CCA played Ship Shape over and over and over again last season, it's still pretty good.
Yeah, I just want to say, where is the mincemeat clams? You could have at least taken one of those and replaced it with mincemeat clams.
I mean, I love mincemeat clams. You know what? I said it. It's not that bad.
Only PSU people. Well, no, only PSU.
Yeah, that's my wonderful teammate Snow brainwashing me to love mincemeat clams. If you don't like mincemeat clams, you're not allowed to be on the roster. That's how it works. That's our tryout process. Like, Snow comes up to you and says, "Do you like mincemeat clams?" And if the answer is anything but yes, you're cut.
That sounds like hazing.
For legal reasons, I'm not. I have to say that isn't actually what happens. our trial process is very fair and very fun. So yeah, that's not a disclaimer. That's not real.
Anyway, speaking of what is
moving
real,
to the game 6.
we have
Ship Shape Zone. More wacky picks coming from RIT. The Dreadringer D this time, widely considered by a lot of people to be one of the worst new weapons added in this most recent season. Let's see I'm really interested to see what they can pull off of it. RIT immediately getting into a 3-down situation, or Bonefish going 3 down, excuse me. RIT moving up into that aggressive top left position. That's exactly where they want to be. Bonefish is going to have an uphill battle for me. Let's see what they can do to get back into this game.
Yeah, for sure. And the Dreadringer is going down. I will say with the Dreadringer, having beacons and having a weapon that pays a lot is probably pretty good for zones. So let's see if they can get something going on with that. And we can see they already have an Inkjet and a Reef Slider ready for zones. And they're able to get 3 more again. This could just be over immediately.
Yeah, Bonefish going 3 down again like that. They're gonna have one more chance, it seems like, to really come back in here and take the zone. It looks like they tried to use their splashdown from the Empires to flip zone quickly, but RIT immediately retaliated with a Reef Slider from the Tetra. The Tetras that flip zone right back. Bonefish has to rush the zone here. This is
right now. They're not gonna be able to do it fast enough. And RIT Trigger Punt is gonna take the game immediately. That was so fast.
Not just take the game, but take the set. It's gonna go in the rulebooks as a 4-2 victory for RIT. Good stuff from them. But honestly, just a phenomenal set overall. Like, I got the impression from... Like, obviously, that last game was a bit more one-sided. RIT played it really well, did a good job to run away with the game, running from 100 points down to 0 in a single push. But every game before that was incredibly back and forth, really even. So, like, genuinely just a fantastic set to watch, I think. So, good stuff from both teams.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think, especially with regards to that last game, just very, very good triples and just forcing Bonefish out of the game entirely. Like, they never got to do anything.
Yeah, for what it's worth, like, RIT, like, the way they played that map mode, Ship Shape Zones, like, that was the textbook example of how to play this map mode well. They got the early picks they needed. They immediately moved up into that top left position to lock out the enemy team. The rest of their more forward players moved up into, like, the far side of mid. And then from there, they just never gave Bonefish the space they needed to get back in and try to, like, get back into the game. Like, that was the textbook example of a lockout on Ship Shape. So, good stuff, RIT. Like, that's all you could say.
Very good set for our first set of the night.
Yeah, I mean, shoot, I nearly forgot. Yeah, this was their debut set, technically, because they rescheduled their week 1 match. So, like, if you're RIT, like, you know, emotions are probably pretty high right now. Like, you got away with your first win on stream, no less. Like, that's definitely going to feel pretty good for RIT.
Yeah, also, another thing I want to point out. How many different weapons did RIT use this match?
You know what? Whenever the stats get put in, I might go over to the stats website and just go through each of their members and look at how many weapons they have for this one game. Like, this was one match, right? They have 4 more to play, and then the potential for playoffs. How long must be, like, the list of all the weapons played in matches by the end of the season, you think?
Oh my god. They're probably doing a challenge like, all right, we have to use every weapon at least once during the season.
My lovely teammate Jay Money has a personal mission of his to try to add 1 new weapon to his weapon pool every single week.
Oh no.
Like, some people, you know, like, there's definitely some pride to be taken in being like a one trick, being like, yeah, like, this is my gun, I made it, like, I'm super good at it. But I mean, like, there's also an equal amount of pride in being able to say, yeah, like, oh man, like, what gun do you play? All of them? Like, what do you mean main weapon? I don't have one. Like, that's a pretty powerful thing to be able to say, right?
Yeah. See, I do kind of the same thing, except it's with 1 weapon. It's H3. I pick up H3 and then drop it because it's bad, and then pick it up because it's fun.
And I feel like every time you pick it up again, you're like, oh man, like, maybe this will be the time. This will be the time
No,
I'm
but
like,
actually,
yeah,
though.
I'm gonna stick with it. And then a month later, you're like, nah, it's just not good in this game, which sucks because H3 is such a cool gun, you know.
Yeah. Oh no.
I know you know. You just said you like playing it.
Yeah. It looks like we are going to be playing the full set, so this is going to be an unofficial Game 7 on TC Sturgeon.
I'd say it's a pretty well-respected map mode. It's not, like, amazing or anything, but it's just a generally solid one, you know?
Yeah, I think this map mode, definitely not as good as it used to be back in the good old days of Splatoon 2, but It's still alright. As far as TC maps go in this game, it's alright.
I find, in my opinion, doing more like map mode analogies, like how I compared Ship Shape to Mako Zones, I find that Sturgeon Zones plays a bit like a worse version of Inkblot Zones, where so much of the game comes down to controlling one really powerful defensive position. On Inkblot TC, it's the bats area. I'm sure we all know about bats. But on this map, I find it's that top right position near the grates. That's where the defending team's gonna try to stop the tower from for first and second checkpoint, and it's where the attacking team ideally wants to get their front lines up into to take control of it to make sure that the defending team can't defend from there. So getting them to that top right position, I'm hoping we see a bit of that in this last game, which of course, as Batson just said, it's unofficial, it's play all 7, we're only here for some extra fun and practice. It's a CCA tradition, like, people like doing this. Rapid Pro Deco, that's one of my favorite guns. I respect whoever's playing that.
I love Rapid Pro. I love Rapid Pro so much. And the Nautilus.
Splashdown Nautilus too, that's definitely pretty bold coming from RIT.
Yeah, although the suction bomb does help a lot on tower, especially on defense. But they're not going down immediately to that carbon.
Yeah, Paintbrush alone on right side, finds 2. Like, good play by them. The RIT's gonna have a lot of momentum to push with here as they try to get this last one out. If the NZEP has Cooler, they really need to fall back here and try to preserve their life. It looks like that's exactly what they did. Unless that's the NZEP there. I might have gotten my players mixed up.
But the Paintbrush going down to the whale is a bit unfortunate, but RIT Tiger Prawn is still gonna have control. We can see the rapid pressuring this carbon there. Unfortunately not able to get that pick, but there's someone on the flank looking to take out the rapid, but has to back up. And the carbon
Huge
is able
play
to
by the carbon. Yeah, getting behind them like that. Bonefish immediately turning this game around. It seems like they were like, you know, they were in a disadvantaged position. You know, RIT's pushing the tower, but Bonefish finding that critical triple kill. They're coming right back at RIT, pushing the tower themselves, taking the lead. Not quite able to take the checkpoint. Seems like they're trying to. They get it. That was a good splash on to really clear them out, take the checkpoint, and it seems like they're just gonna keep trying to move this tower forward. The 52 doing exactly what I said they need to do, getting up into that top right position, falling back to take tower, probably the right thing to do. Let's see what Bonefish does to keep this push going.
Yeah, it's a bit unfortunate that 52 had to go back to touch tower instead of holding onto that top right because of how powerful it is a position for 52 to hold. But Bonefish Bay is going to go back and take mid, although the Rapid is going to be able to take out the M-Perries, and that might be the ticket that RIT Tiger Prawn is looking for to take back mid.
Yeah, no, this Rapid's doing a really good job using their range to their advantage, poking at enemy players at like just the right spacing. Rapid being a deceptively precise weapon because if people are too close to you, the blast just goes past them. So they're doing a good job at it, like peaking from just the right range. Love to see that.
Especially with Rapid Pro, with how long of a range, we can see not initiating a fight against the dualies is going to be able to take them out. And not just getting able to get an assist from another, does go down to the Zuka, but there's only these 2 people on the right side of the map left versus the 3.
Carbon finds 1. They're being really aggressive here. That's probably what they need. Finds both of them. The tower's free and open to take. Bonefish does exactly that. Look, they're going to try to get another push going here, although it seems like there's a bit of confusion over who's actually riding tower here.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a dance with the Bonefish base trying to figure out.
I am just now noticing Bonefish is running a backless comp, and I'm like, you know, typically in tower control, a lot of teams just opt to make their backline the designated tower rider because they're the most passive play. Anyways, Carbon making a huge play. Oh my god, this is gonna be big for Bonefish. 2 people getting up into that top right position. Seems like the Carbon's actually falling back. I'm not sure if I agree with that play. They're getting back up, finding 1. This is gonna be huge for Bonefish.
And what a continuation Zuka being able to get the pick on the one person and Zuka not, and is able to push up and get another. This is and getting 1 more. Anyway, this is TC Sturgeon. It's so snowbally. This Carbon has got like 7 kills in a row or something like that. Very, very good stuff there. Being able to take the last game in a pretty convincing fashion.
I am speechless. The Carbon genuinely just popped off there. Oh my god, like. And so I want to point out, like, Bonefish won that game, right? But Bonefish wins. So if we consider the fact that, like, oh yeah, like it's play all 7, this was technically game 7. You know, that game was unofficial, but if we considered it official, like the score would be 3-4 right now. Like I still can't get it out of my head how evenly matched these two teams are. If just one thing had gone slightly differently in an earlier game, maybe Bonefish actually wins this set, right? Like it really could have gone both ways, I think. Unreal performance from both sides.
Yeah, definitely very good stuff from both teams. I still can't believe how many kills that Carbon got at the end of that game. That was
Oh my
a
god,
bit ridiculous.
they were feeling themselves. Oh my god, dude.
That Carbon actually got like 7.
Like
But
the Carbon definitely clipped that. I'll be mad if they didn't clip it because frankly they deserve it.
oh yeah, let's clip here for them. We got all of that on stream. But
Mhm.
it looks like we are going to be wrapping up. We have our next matchup between the NCSS Llamas and the Axolotls of Athens next. So looks
It'll
like
be a
we're going
good
to be.
set. Maybe I'll watch it.
Yeah, definitely make sure to watch
Um,
it. It's a Division 6 match.
Oh, that'll be fun.
Oh,
Again, like I always say, like those lower divs, anything could happen down there. It's the Wild West, so definitely tune in for that. It's gonna be interesting.
yeah, and before you go, make sure to follow me at Batson_SPL on Twitter. I guess. I'm not really that active, but I'm pretty cool, I think.
Are we doing shameless plugs? Okay.
Yes, we are.
I don't do a lot of social media stuff, but what I can shamelessly plug is you should all go check out my YouTube channel, Aniko Nikki. I have a mission to upload every single collegiate Splatoon VOD I'm involved in. So check it out. If you like what you see here on this stream, you'll probably like some of the content I make. But otherwise, I don't think we have too much else to say.
Yeah, that's about it for us. So yeah, stay tuned for the next match.
Yep. Take it easy, y'all.